believe me? I feel like a goofball. I am a goofball. Okay. So anyway, today I wanted to do two things. I wanted to show you that I darn my socks and explain what that is, and I wanted to show you golden berries, which kind of a long story, but do you have time? I hope so. Okay, so my crazy golden berry story goes like this. My husband bought me exotic fruit seeds, and I planted some in the garden. And when I was weeding in the garden, I noticed nothing came up in the area where I planted these golden berry seeds. And so some strange weeds came up, and I thought, well, maybe the rain had come and washed them down to the other end of the garden. Well, at the other end of the garden, a plant did come up, and it had berries on it that looked a lot like this. See, well, actually that's like a little paper casing around the berry, but it looks like paper. I mean, it's a really cute little, it's almost like a balloon flower, but it's a casing, and inside it, some leaf-like stuff, but it's a cute little berry. And I'm not quite sure if it's ripe or not. Oh, that one wasn't ripe, but they're usually a little bit sweeter. But anyway, these grew down in the lower part of the garden, and they were orange. They looked a lot like this, but they were orange. And I ate them, and I fed them to my niece, and they were really tasty. And then I had one more goldenberry seed, and I planted it in a pot, and when that plant came up, the plant looked entirely different than the plant that I was eating from the garden. Well, it turns out that goldenberries are native to Texas, and the plant in the garden that I mistook for a goldenberry, having never seen the plant before, so I don't understand how this happened. But I got this other plant, the one with this is kind of a smaller fruit on the one from the seed, and the other one, the wild one, had a bigger fruit with larger seeds in it, and tastier, maybe a little more like a tomato, but sweet. Anyway, so now I have one plant from seed and the wild ones, and I like the wild ones better. So I have let them come up in the garden. I'll show you what that plant looks like, and I'll show you what the wild one looks like. And then you have to watch the part about my socks. Okay? It'll be fun. Don't worry. It'll be fun, she said. Okay, here's the goldenberry plant that I planted from that extra seed I still had left over. Hope that's in focus. But you can see it's this, where is it? That little part right there, that's where the berry grows, inside one of those little lanterns. Okay, and in my big garden, you look right in the center there, that's the wild goldenberry. Okay, here's what its flower looks like. I'm sorry, I can't hold steady right now. I don't have any place to clip the camera to. Just a second, I'll show you the other side of it. Perhaps. There you go. Look how pretty that is. Okay. So, I'm gonna pull out so you can see the shape of the leaf. The leaves are only about, I guess, 1 to 3 inches in size. And they're yummy. I wish I knew about this before. I'd have been looking around the wild goldenberry that's been attacked by I don't know what. But this is the one we first started eating the seeds off before we realized we were eating the wild one. But hey, happy accident, right? Here's another wild edible that just sprang up in the garden. So we kept it because I can pull the dead heads off it and feed them to the chickens. They're full of sunflower seeds. And you can eat them. You don't even have to shell them. The seeds are pretty small. You can just chew them up. Okay, so back to the potted goldenberry plant. I think they also call it paper lantern fruit. If you can tell, the stems on this plant are very different. They have stripes on them. They're a little woodier. They're not solid green and smooth like the wild one. I just wanted to identify that for you. because I guess the different varieties are out there, and I guess they weren't that exotic after all. But it's pretty neat. I mean, I like the idea that I could go outside and just kind of go in the wild and identify that and eat it. Okay, there's one other cool plant in my garden I would like to show you. Come on over here. This is our cotton patch. And we had exciting news today. Babies! You see that? Those are actual cotton balls, and I just knocked one off, but here, let's pull some off here. Guess we can take the whole cotton ball, and I'll take it apart for you and show you what it's like. Got that? Okay. Okay, so inside the cotton ball is a seed. You just gotta keep pulling at it. There's the little seed, and I save all of those for next year. And then, of course, I keep the cotton because, hey, it's cotton. It's cotton balls. You can use it for whatever you use cotton for. But I can spin it into rope, which is kind of fun too. But anyway, you can just take all this apart, and you get a bunch of seeds out of each different section. There are like 8 seeds in that so far, and I've still got 2 left. But I've seen people make wreaths. Is that a word? Wreaths? W-R-E-A-T-H. Wreaths. I just can't say it right. But anyway, that'd be cute in a wreath. But I wouldn't waste the cotton on that because I actually use the cotton as cotton balls. And take off my nail polish or wash my face and put on, you know, makeup stuff, girl stuff. Don't worry about that. I just wake up looking like this, so I don't have to wear makeup. Anyway, I thought that now would be a good time to introduce myself. Hello, my name is Julie, and I have a job, but it's kind of part-time. I make sterling silver jewelry. I do mostly custom jobs. People contact me and they say, hey, will you know, I want you to design a bracelet for my daughter, and she likes, I don't know, Frozen or whatever. I don't know. She likes, you know, this movie, and they tell me something about, and I design a piece of jewelry for that person. That's what I do when I have a job. When I don't have a job, I take care of my garden. I take care of the chickens. I sew things. I crochet. I paint. Make pottery. I just built a pottery kiln. I hope that you've seen that video, but I'll link to it. That's so cool. And I live every day. It's kind of exciting because every day I wake up and I say, what do I want to do today? And some days it's fun. I have a job to do. I'm making money. And some days I'm just providing value to my family. And I provide value in a lot of different ways. But we're sort of homesteading. You know, we're gardening. We have the chickens, and we're not independent of the grocery store or anything like that. We're not independent of the clothing store, although I would like to be. I would like to be independent of having to pay people for everything. But I think that's a dream that a lot of people have. But I like to do projects that don't cost my family a lot of money, because if I was to actually just go to the craft store and buy everything I wanted, it would be very expensive. There's not only is there a huge markup for things, but I mean, every trip back and forth to get more pieces to the project. And I've made quilts before, and you know, fabric is just not a thing you can make bushcraft. You can't bushcraft fabric. The kind of fabric that we wear today that is soft and lovely, it's made by machines. Even the Amish don't make their own fabric, unfortunately. You could make a sweater. Okay, you could shave your alpaca and you could twist that in yarn and you can make a sweater. But there's no way you could make a flat cloth like, I don't know what that was, like t-shirt cloth or
denim or any kind of fabric that we wear on a normal basis other than yarns, things made of yarn, there's no way. There's no way. So I don't really think anybody could get independent of consumerism. But we try, we do the things that we think we can do, and like such as gardening, and that's why I like to dig up my own clay, because I say, here's one thing I don't have to depend on anybody else for. As long as we have this land and the resources that we have here, that's what I'm going to tap. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. I kind of do a little of everything. I don't even know what I didn't name, but I do all kinds of crafting and making. I make things from scratch. Once in a while I make cheese. I make bread. Every couple of days I make a loaf of bread. And I like that I can bake it inside or outside now with the new kiln, because I use it as an oven too. I do a lot of things. So if you have an interest in any of the things that I have mentioned, or in suggesting that I try anything else, I'm all ears. Because I work part-time, I have time to, attack different projects and, do whatever seems fun. And I'm learning to reveal more of my inner self on video, which in the past I was maybe afraid of the camera in a way, but I have found that people are very kind, most of them, and I will do my best to entertain you if you'll subscribe and like and stick around. I want to show you a little bit about darning socks, which is, it's more about the why you do it than the fact that you do it. Where'd you go? That one looks ripe. It's pretty good. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's fine. Oftentimes when my husband and I shop, we try to find things that are made in America. And the reason for that is that we know that no slave labor has been used to produce our goods. We trust that in America, people are paid a fair wage. Typically, they have choices. They can go work somewhere else if they don't like the wage they're getting at one place. And if you buy your socks from a factory that's overseas, there could be people locked in a factory with no air conditioning, and the place could go on fire and they can burn to death, or the building will collapse because unscrupulous people run some of these operations. And so one of the ways to ensure that you're not buying slave traded goods is to buy a good quality sock. And so these are my favorite socks. They say Fits across them, and when they are antibacterial, and so you can wear them for days, and you can wash them in your sink and put them on and wear them again, and they dry really quickly, and they're just really good socks with cushioned under the toe and under the foot. Well, I wore mine so much that I wore them out, so I fixed them. So I darned my socks, and what that tells me is that there's not some little person over in another country working on cheap socks for me. Now, I do fix my cheap socks too. I always use like whatever I have available, so you can see the thread where I've actually repaired my cheapy socks, because I'm not going to throw them out. I bought them before I realized that I can, spend $20 on a single pair of socks and repair those, and not buy a 10-pack for $20 and not have the best socks. Why not have the best socks that last forever? I don't know. I guess it's up to you. But for me, I like the idea that my socks are they have character. They have style. I mean, nobody else has a pair of socks that look just like this because I fixed them. So I have actually a part in the creation, and I have no guilt about buying things from places where people are mistreated. Now I have no guilt. I mean, okay. So anyway, here are some wool socks, and these are notorious for wearing out, but I have darned them. So anyway, you can watch me darn socks for a minute if you want. First, I have a little trick that I do. I have this super fine wire, and I just make a bend in it. Here we go. Where do you see it now? Just make a little bend in it, and I push it through the hole in the needle. I know they have a gadget for doing this, but sometimes I don't know where my little gadget is, and sometimes I have a fine piece of wire. So then I just loop the thread through that loop, and I just pull it through my needle. And then I get rid of my wire. You don't need the wire anymore. Okay. And I don't have a proper gadget that people use for darning socks, so I took the stopper off a bottle. It's just a recycled bottle I had. And I stick it in the sock. Like that. Okay. And then I'll just work this. So the stopper is inside the sock, and I just weave back and forth across the sock until I've done a little square. So anyway, while we're waiting, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? I'm here to listen. I don't hear anything. Don't you talk to computers? Okay, well, whatever. Your phone, your iPad, whatever you're using. Just talk to me now. You can tell me anything. I won't tell. So anyway, you just turn around, you go back and forth. In and out, just like you're just weaving through the fabric back and forth. And then once you've got your patch covered, well, I do one more row and I do have my patch covered, so that's my patch where the hole was. Then I just go up and down, under and over the yarn that I slipped. Okay, then you just go under and over the section you just sewed. Turn around and go back, under, over, under, over, under, over. Doesn't have to be perfect. But anything that you can fix instead of running to the store to buy, that's going to save you money, and it adds character. Not only to the socks, but to you too. I mean, when you feel like you can fix something, you feel powerful. And I feel powerful when I can fix something. When I build a fire, or even if I just get up and make my bed in the morning, I'm like, wow, okay, I got something done. I'm ready to go. So yeah, I've got a pretty good patch in there. And you know, if I feel like it, I'll just stitch around another time. Sometimes I like to stitch around the edges. And I just trim it off. You never put a knot in it. You just trim it off and then stretch out the fabric and let it pull back through a little bit. And it stays because you've gone back and forth so many times, you don't need to knot it in any way. It's super simple. Our grandparents did it, and they had good reason. You know, you didn't just because something was broken, you didn't throw it away. You fixed it. You didn't fill our landfills with your junk. They had much less junk. And I think that's one of the cool things about the time before the time that I grew up. Now everybody has so much stuff, and it's just, what do you do with all of it? Okay. So that's done. Now that sock will last me, maybe I'll go through one more time. Yeah, but that sock will last me now, and I don't have to buy another. So that's the outside of the sock. That's the inside of the sock. See? No hole. All better.
I think you deserve a reward for sticking with me through this whole video, so one last thing for you after the sock darning. This should be fun. I'm going to show you my best stupid human trick. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And now for my stupid human trick.